other members show up, they show up. So begin with roll call. Drew Germanowski, I'm here. Jennifer Houghton.
Here.
Kathy McGovern.
Here.
Laura Ray.
Here.
Alan Johnson.
Here.
Cheyenne Riemann.
Here.
Chad Heimbecker.
Here.
And Carol Schneider's here. Okay. All right.
Winfield's here.
Oh, Winfield's
Hey,
not in
I've been
I
here
was
for like
looking down.
half an hour. So.
Yeah, you didn't see it?
You didn't see me singing? Hello, everyone.
I see you have that invisible Halloween costume on already. Try it out. It worked.
I'm the junior member. I came in. No one recognized me.
Okay, well, we could rise and pledge allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, with that, we can move into agenda items. There's no executive session, so that brings us to subcommittees and reports. First one, bylaws update. Jennifer, you're the spokesperson there.
At this point, we're still reviewing it, and we hope to bring it in the next couple months
Okay.
for review.
Yeah. Open Space Goal Subcommittee, I haven't called us together yet, but I've been marking up the margins of our open space document, and Russell's here, let the record show. And so I'm also in the process of looking at some other township open space documents as well, and I'll get the committee together, hopefully before our next meeting, to start discussing some of the items. Stormwater management, I know they met.
Okay, on that one, we had an online virtual meeting last week on the 6th.
Can you please remind me who's on the Stormwater Management Committee?
Drew, Winfield, Russell, Janine, Alan. We had a good discussion. We went through prior year MS4 report, and if everyone should have received it, I saw that the 2025 report was sent out like a week ago. Okay, so I've started to look at that one too for comparison. We went through the publications, the ordinances. We're in process on a detailed review to generate a list of recommendations. Things to talk about, you know, the report accuracy, oversight, and the thoroughness. Obviously, we want to update the materials and the pamphlets, the rain gardens, rain barrels, other stormwater management best practices, and, you know, having an education of the EAC as well as planning committees and zoning on current stormwater ordinances and the low impact development, which pertains to new construction. So we want to be able to advise on that as well. So we have an online meeting coming up again before our next EAC meeting in November, hopefully. And we should have a little bit more to report on that next month. So
Very good. I think we all felt like it was a productive meeting. It was interesting, and looking through the report from the engineers was interesting. And so Chad was taking notes on various suggestions, and so I think we'll make some good progress on that. So thanks, Chad.
yes, and to, you know, tie into where we were today at the Lehigh Valley Watershed Conference, I sat in the technical track 4, which was discussion on the new MS4 permitting process. The first session from Paul Grella from the DEP. That was informative, what they're looking for coming down the pike. Cost of the storm, quantifying the value of stormwater investments, making data-driven decisions from a professor in Kentucky. Common points of failure in stormwater design and construction from a professor from the University of New Hampshire. And so those 3 sessions were very informative today and very timely with where we are in our stormwater review.
Would you be able to implement any of that information into ours?
Yeah, we'll talk about how we can, what we can fine tune,
I guess
and maybe look at. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, and everybody who made it to that meeting. So the next item was involved electing and organizing a calendar subcommittee. Someone distributed that list of Kathy, okay, I thought it was you, Kathy distributed a list of items that we developed last year to serve as a starting point. I believe that was your goal.
Yeah, that was, we summarized in 2024, we were trying to come up with how, new ideas, things we can share with the public. We were talking at an open space forum, and we were asked what each of us were interested in, and that's what that list is.
Okay.
And some of those items we addressed in 2025, some we did not.
Do we have a printout out here?
I couldn't even share it.
Thank you.
I got spilled a little something on it.
That's okay.
Steve's still read it.
It's that invisible paint.
Yes. That's the concept.
So that raises the question, if anybody has a particular interest in serving on that committee and or chairing that committee, speak up, I suppose. What we have done in the past, I think, is just try to manage that list as a committee of a whole. And I think one downside of that is things do tend to slip through the cracks. So it might be better to try to make a more concerted effort to develop a list that's, again, ambitious but manageable, and to maintain that. One thing we could do along those lines, I know in one of, oh, sure. Oh, there we go. Is that working now? Okay, geez, I had just said a lot of profound things that we apparently aren't gonna make it into the record. Anyway, sorry about that. But I think one thing we could do to help stay a bit on track is to continue, when we meet each month, to have a hard copy of that document present in the packet, so that it's right in front of us, and we can always remind ourselves where we stand. And if we have a subcommittee on that, then of course that could become the regular responsibility of the subcommittee chair to draw our attention to where we have been on track, where we have slipped off track, where new opportunities may need to replace other things as we use this as a living document.
So I'll be happy to be on the committee. If I have to be the chairperson, I will. I prefer not to, but I will. However, we have to define what it is, what we're looking for. Meaning, we started with everybody's ideas of what they wanted to see. The EAC was getting new life breathed into it, and we wanted to see each person's interest. That's where that list came from. However, we also talked about having forums for the public, to educate the public of what we do, or a hot topic of the day, or something that, you know, we've learned that we can implement in our own township. So I think I'd be happy to do a calendar, but the calendar, we have to quantify. Like, do you want a specific topic each month with the EAC? Do you want a topic each quarter for the public? Do you want, like, it's not quite that simple. And then you want to incorporate some of the stuff that you've learned when you go to these comments. The point. So I'm just talking out loud. Like, I think we need to decide as a group. The idea was to get more proactive and be more organized, and we've done a lot better than from where we came from. But now, where do we want to go?
Right, and it raises the question, as you're describing this, it occurs to me that we also should discuss, briefly, just think about this. Do we want to have sort of some things are ongoing, right? Road cleanup and so forth. But then in terms of our more flexible ambitions, do we want to consider trying to establish something along the lines of a theme for each year, where we're doing things that are coherent to work towards a larger goal? Or does that end up stifling us and holding us back from maybe doing other things? I'm just throwing that out as a possibility. I think we have always had sort of a just a mix of ideas, and things didn't go together necessarily. And then sometimes I think that also resulted in some things just not being addressed.
We also learned, like, every EAC does a rain barrel workshop, and I believe I'm the one that brought that up, I don't remember. But the point is you want to offer something to the public, but it was not well received. So we learned. So we kind of have to modify a little bit too of what we're doing.
Right.
Well, if we follow the MS4 requirements, we have to annually provide at least one education outreach event. So that is a starting point, using those MCMs that are broken down in there for us to help organize what deliverables in events we need to plan around to meet the requirements of an MS4. So that's a starting point.
Right, I understand.
I wouldn't limit it to just one theme, although I like that idea. I would like to keep it open. I'm willing to be involved in the conversation. I don't think I'm able to take on a.
So Kathy, as you chair this subcommittee, how do you see this?
Before we get to that, I think we've got some big items that we are working on, and maybe we look at this in January as, because the open space is a big item, and the MS4 is a big item, which would lead to some things that we need to do. And then of course the bylaws, and if we can get through those, we've hit some major goals. So to start the calendar, I think maybe
For January, right?
Yeah, then
Right.
we can look at some of those, like, do we focus on public communication and training? And it doesn't have to be just rain barrels. It could be, a number of different things. So
The other good point that you raised there is that conceptually, this committee could be different when January comes around. I know I was contacted by Carol to ask if I wanted to continue to serve on this. I doubt that I'm the only person whose term expires this spring, so maybe several other of you have received such a question, and certainly all I know is that I said I would be willing to serve again. But I don't know if any others have, or stepping off of this committee for any other reason. So the main point being, we may be constituted slightly, I hope slightly differently when the new year comes around. So I think there are a couple of reasons why it might make sense to do that. Furthermore, to see what we might bring to completion yet this year.
Correct.
I mean, we still have 2 meetings beyond this and opportunities for subcommittee meetings in between.
yeah, because
We had talked about this just being for next year.
Yeah,
and looking forward.
Right.
yeah.
But I think having a
We
subcommittee
have 2
would be a good
people
idea, so
who
we can have
express an
in-depth
interest.
conversations on it.
I think it's a little bit difficult to sit at this end of the table and kind of run the meeting and not feel as though I'm pushing myself into things, whether the rest of the committee agrees or not. And so I think it makes perfect sense for the person chairing this committee, and that might change next year too.
Yeah, no, that's,
I think it's a natural for the person serving as the chair of this committee to be on that committee as well.
right. I have no problem doing that. It's just we have to define what we want.
Right. So let's, as we discussed previously, we right now know of 3 people who are interested in serving on that committee, and we can constitute it and get rolling in January. And once again, all of us, Kathy shared the list with us, we can all look at that and be thinking about other things that we think are important at this juncture to discuss for next year's agenda. And it is good too, again, I'll just say this for the record, that it has been wonderful to work with all of you, because this committee has been ambitious and aggressive, and people have stepped up and brought things to completion or in process. Was there, Chad, did you have your hand up, or you're just thinking?
I was just saying I want to be involved. That's all.
Okay, so for the moment, I've expressed an interest, Chad expressed an interest, Kathy expressed an interest, and then we'll move forward as we see how things develop. can I ask this question and you could choose not to answer? Is anybody planning on stepping off of the EAC, or has anybody indicated to Carol that they are, and I just don't know that?
Kurt is the only one.
Okay, and Kurt is stepping off? Okay. Okay, so that's important for us to know. Okay, new business, do we have new business? I'm not aware of new business. We don't have developer items, so, and unless Kathy, I don't know if we could, does Carol, help me with this, does new business have to be on the agenda, or can things be spontaneously put into that category right now?
Think it needs to be on.
It needs to be on? Okay.
I'm not.
Okay, well, if so, that's okay. I don't want to do anything out of line, but perhaps as an item of new business next semester, you shared the budget information. Is that something that you would like to have us put on, to put on the agenda for next month?
I have it here. I was deciding whether or not to bring it up or not, because it's not finalized, right?
What's that?
The budget, the 2026 proposed, that's,
Yeah.
bring a lot of Starbucks. I guess I just wanted to make the comment, I have, I pulled it out, it's page, I don't even know, 26 or 27 of the proposed budget that went out to everybody. There were comments made by the public, how much money we're spending, and we're spending a ton of money, and we're not. So this is how much we were allocated, this is what we spent so far. Now, I know the electronics is due in here. Do we know how much we
That's coming up. Just hold on.
next, okay. And that would be it for this year, and then that's proposed for next year. I mean, we've stayed, excuse me, I'm sorry. We've stayed pretty steady. 2023 is probably still a little bit of a hangover from COVID, I'm assuming. We were pretty stagnant in 2023.
Yeah.
Very stagnant in 2020.
Yeah, I have this on my computer, so Alan, I
Yeah,
don't know if you.
it's page 24
That's
or
just for the
5.
Doesn't have numbers, I have to number one.
When you click on what the township's saying, you can just.
And I think it's appropriate, Carol, you can agree or disagree, Kathy, but when you mentioned that members of the public were saying we're spending too much money, I think we should insert the word that we were allegedly spending too much
Correct.
money, because the way you presented it, it's not a correct assertion.
That is correct, thank you. That's my point, and that's why I brought it in tonight. We are in line and we're actually under budget, so just frustrating.
Well, the spending is mostly what, to pay for the recycling program, which is
That's the biggest
hopefully
thing.
reimbursed by a grant, it's not really like we're buying things.
Correct. The tires was last year. The only thing that I can think of this year, I'm sure I might be missing something, is memberships and the
Yeah, that's pretty minimal.
electronic recycling event.
Right.
And that's usually what.
And it's probably worth bringing to everybody's attention as well that a fair number of us have attended the sort of regional EAC meetings, and that was one of the eye-opening things that we learned, speaking about learning things, is that many EACs are fairly well-funded by their townships, far surpassing anything that we've tended to go item by item and request by request. But some of the EACs have larger budgets that are annual from the sounds of things. So I anticipate that there'll be more conversation at the county scale EAC because others whereas some were much better funded annually, there were others such as ourselves that weren't particularly well funded. So it's easy to imagine that's going to be a subject moving forward as well. Let the record show, of course, that Kurt joined the meeting.
That's 6:52.
Give me an invite. Sorry for my lateness.
Okay, that brings us to updates and reports. From what I gathered, that was, the electronics recycling was quite successful. You can give us a more direct report, Jennifer,
Yeah.
please?
Carol, thanks for providing me the summary, but, the invoice was $5,541. We collected about 85 pounds. I didn't quite understand.
85 was from the township alone.
For the
The
township.
rest was from the residents.
Okay, and the rest was almost 4,000 pounds of electronics. Say those numbers again? I will.
Sorry.
I know the cost.
To say
The
it again,
cost,
please,
so-
can
I
you
know
start
that.
over, please? I'm sorry. I apologize.
Pounds.
Excuse me, let's start over. Invoice 5,541. 92 cents to be exact. And then the township had 85 pounds and the residents was, to be exact, 3,919 pounds. So it was a little bit down from last year by over 1,000 pounds, but I think there's a lot of opportunities. It was a good day, you know, we hadn't had our winter kind of set in where people were probably doing some of their cleanup. But we have also submitted for the grant, which the max is 3,000 that we'll submit with Northampton and hopefully get.
And that's
So-
what I submitted it for.
Right. So, I mean, and please understand, this is part of that MS4 to do this type of community outreach. So
Yeah.
it was a good event. I think everyone came. There was a lot of TVs, and I think that's to our advantage as one of the items that we do collect. So,
Otherwise, they
can't get rid of
tend to end up
TVs.
on roadsides.
yes, and some people are very grateful. That it's not on
It's
the
all the
roadside.
time, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was a good event, and so thank you for everyone that came out.
It's good.
Yeah, thank those of you who did come out. I'm
Yeah.
sure that's what makes it a success as well.
Yes, and thank you to the township, and Carol, please,
Yeah, Public Works, for
everyone,
sure.
yeah, they were great, and thank you.
So if I'm hearing it right, 5541.92, and you put in for a grant for $3,000, so then the balance hopefully will be 2541.
Right.
Okay,
Right. And then
perfect.
Chad makes a good point. These are the sorts of events that we're required to do in essence. They fall within the umbrella of MS4 requirements, so.
And I did like to follow up on that. I did see in the 2025 report, they had updated it with our rain garden presentation that we had just back in July.
Okay.
So it is being kept up to date,
Yeah,
what we're
good.
doing.
Carol, do you normally, we were talking about this in our meeting the other day. Are you normally the liaison in essence to bring things to their attention that we're doing? Or
Whose attention, I'm sorry?
the engineers that report, that submit our MS4 report?
I do adopt a road tonnage, I do that, I haven't done anything else.
Okay, so maybe what we can start doing, all of us collectively and individually, is at our meetings, when we think about things of these sorts that should be basically listed so that we're accumulating them in one place to pass on to the engineers, that we make comments to Carol so they're in the minutes, and with a special request in essence to Carol to say, put this in the list of things that should go in the annual MS4 reporting. Because otherwise, some things may be overlooked and things are not reported that, in essence, not a matter of getting credit for it per se, but to bring it to people's attention.
Yeah. Now, we don't have review of that report before it gets submitted, which is another point of conversation. So
Yes,
just to make sure it's thorough and complete.
right. And that was interesting because as Chad worked through the report, just to, not to go back to that again, but he discovered a number of things that really haven't been addressed. And some of these things maybe are oversights. So we need to be a little more proactive as we can in making sure the lines of communication are open.
Yeah.
Okay. Adopt the road on November 8th. Kathy, any?
Yes, I have to change the date.
Okay.
So I was gonna push it up a week, if that's okay, I hope. That's all right.
So that's November 1?
No, the other way.
Oh, push it back a week.
The 15th.
Oh,
15th.
yes.
Is that okay? I'm
That's
sorry.
That's
I have to see how many crews I have going out.
I
The
can't,
15th is the fall gathering for Week and
Oh,
Serve.
yeah, I can't do that.
if you want to keep the 8th, I mean, but I cannot be there. So I can do like the 7th.
Yeah,
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
What time are we doing it on the 8th?
we usually meet at
9.
9.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, I can.
Somebody else has to be responsible then for picking up the, you know, going to Roger and getting the vests and
I
the
can do
grapples
that.
and stuff like that. All right, then we can keep it the 8th, but I won't be there, I'm sorry.
Okay.
You're many
And
places.
who's the contact, cause I can just.
Jennifer.
Okay, I'll just resend it to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks,
Thank
Jennifer.
you, Carol.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you.
Kathy, you clean up enough roads.
Oh, my God. You didn't even,
You're involved in at least 3, if
you
not
don't even
more.
see what I just brought in for the, Carol knows. She gets pictures just about every week.
Send
Well,
me pictures every time.
And you do, like you just mentioned, you have a table where
She
you keep
does.
the number of bags and pounds and everything on there for all the Adopt a Road. Do you all know about that?
Yeah.
No.
That's on that MS4 report, which I thought was like, oh, look at this, we should have this up on our webpage. Is it right there?
It is not on the webpage, but I do, as far as MS4, there are other things that we do in-house, to comply as well. We have MS4 information on the community bulletin board. We have
Right.
pamphlets out there.
Right.
And once a month, I've been doing the last couple months, I've been posting cute little,
Social media?
yeah, for, Hanover
Yeah.
sends the information, and then I, try to get it out to the public.
Yeah, I saw the Leave the Leaves ones and stuff like that, I like those.
Yeah, those are
cute.
good. I like those.
So Chad, if you want information and make something nice out of it, I can definitely repost it. It's kind of boring the way that I have it with all that information. But if you wanna do something like that, I can send you that. The fall one will be finished, and sent to Hanover, the totals will be sent, the end of November.
Well, if anything, it would be something to put on the agenda here,
Okay.
so that we can review it and put those numbers into the record in some way
Okay,
She
to
does.
highlight it.
alright, we can do that.
Good idea.
Just
Calendar of
FYI.
events, Chad, that brings you ideas for education of
hold on.
residents. Go ahead.
Hold on 1 second. I have to fill out a form for her every single time I do it, and a picture to kind of like validate, you know, so she's got, I mean, not just me, but I do
Right.
Countryside and I do a little bit of Ringhofer, so, or not Ringhofer, Buttermilk. So, but the point is she has to keep a tally, how many bags, how many,
Right. And that's in that MS4 report, and I think that would be something just
Yep,
to highlight.
Yep.
Along with our, what else are we getting done? Look at what this-
correct,
It's tucked in the way in the middle of a report that nobody in the township is gonna see otherwise,
correct. I apologize.
so. Calendar event would fall into the subcommittee, so I think that should be deferred as a
So
topic.
yeah, that makes perfect sense. And Laura Ray, plastic bag update, is there anything to report there?
We were going to, I think part of this, we wanted to go through the questionnaire, no.
Survey.
The survey questions. Can we get that in here?
I don't see a printout of that.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking this was the survey, cause I saw boxes. Yeah, we have like, how many did we end up doing, like a dozen survey questions? And we were gonna, thought we were going through it today, but.
I don't have a copy of it.
Yeah, I guess.
So that's something that we can
Email it out.
address in November?
And just bring it
Yeah,
back.
I'll just email it out, and then you can think on it till next time if you think the questions seem okay. It's pretty,
And to be honest, based on the meeting, which I'll report on, that we were at last week, that we might wanna make some adjustments to that, just to
okay, if you
understand.
had some thoughts,
Yeah,
okay.
so,
Yeah, maybe, we can mention that, so we were at a thing last week, what's that in here, is it?
that's on my next item.
Okay.
Yeah. Chad, do you want to report on that meeting?
Yeah, the Lehigh Valley EAC network, last week, we had a awesome meeting at, the Fowler Center at NACAC on the 8th.
Plastics reduction, it was presented by Veronica Vostonak, the Sustainability Coordinator for Allentown. She talks about bans on various food, single-use items, best practices, different approaches. It was attended by 10 municipalities at least. Lehigh Valley News as well was there and did an article on it. Lehigh Valley Planning Commission, Greater Lehigh Valley Chamber of Commerce, Energy Environment Committee. It was a lively discussion, very informative on different strategies on how to approach this problem. Also, there is a breakfast meeting. The next one they have scheduled is November 19th at 8:30 in the morning. It will be in Easton, the location to be determined. I will update the committee when I know more.
Did anyone attend that last breakfast meeting in Emmaus?
I did not from here. No.
Yeah, sometimes obviously that's challenging for people still working and so forth in the morning. But we have,
It's nice that it's
as a
getting
committee,
legs.
we've had good representation at the Lehigh Valley.
Yeah, there was 3 of us. Yeah. Let's see here. Focusing, just as some topics of conversation from that discussion, focusing on events in the community, trying to get, whether it's a conference or a tented event, whether it's Community Day or the Blueberry Festival or even Music Fest, to try to get them as an organization to promote their food trucks to use reusable containers that can be dropped off in a shared location, washed, rinsed, and reused. That sounds like it's one of the most effective solutions to reducing single-use plastics. Education facilities, where they're closed-loop systems, where you have full control over that, as well as healthcare. And an important factor is collaboration of ordinances between the townships and municipalities. It's not that we all have to do it at the exact same time, but that there's some sort of consistency in the region. You don't want to go from one neighborhood to the next and have a different, code. Some pretty neat ideas that are used, like Okapi, reusable cup sharing. You buy a membership, you get a reusable cup, you go to the get your coffee filled, you give them your dirty cup, they give you a clean cup. And you can buy, if you can get the businesses in the community to buy in on this, it reduces all that waste. Little things that you can do. So it was very informative.
There seemed to be a lot of public support for eliminating single-use plastics.
Some of the stuff was compostable, which was good.
Yeah, but unfortunately Pennsylvania doesn't have industrial compostable facilities. So then you lead back towards, they could use fiberboard that has a bioplastic on the outside of it that has a little sustainability and durability to it. But you can't home compost it, so you get stuck. And we don't have the facilities to properly handle that. So a reusable environment makes more sense. Lots of things to talk about. The breakfast meeting, we're going to try to organize it again a little bit. See what Lehigh Valley Planning Commission can do with the chamber as well. You got to get buy-in.
Yeah. And
one of the conversations revolved around, the public health safety aspect of this too. With PFAs, you go to a restaurant and they put hot soup in a plastic container and all of those chemicals leachate into your food. Well, maybe that's an avenue to educate the public as well, a rating system or a grading for who provides things in safe food containers. Give the public the choice to select where they're going to do business.
that's something we should think about as well, is PFAS education. I mean, this is something that went from something that people didn't realize and appreciate to something that's turning into a public menace, really, in so many ways. So we'll have to keep that in mind. And then Russ, do you have a Lehigh Valley Planning Commission report or no? No? Okay.
I have something to say.
Okay, Alan?
From what I understand from reading the stuff that they've been publishing on their website,
they're planning on giving their draft climate change, regional climate change report to the higher up commissions. You know, they got several layers of commissions, and the people that worked on it, the environmental commission, they're gonna give it to the next higher commission within the Lehigh Valley Planning Commission. And then those people are gonna do their thing. So I'm hoping that when they do that, it's published so that we can see what it is. But it's a draft.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Alan. And then the Environmental Advisory Network Fall Gathering, Saturday, November 15th at Penn State Great Valley in Malvern, PA. Jennifer, I see your initials there.
Yeah, I mean, what we've done in the past, if anyone's interested, are you still, Carol, gonna sign us up as a group? How do we do that?
I think something we need to talk about,
Yeah, okay.
And I have paperwork over to the left over there, if anybody's interested.
Yeah, if you're interested in, we can serve PA, you know, we became a member. They do a lot with the EAC, open space. It's a great way to network. It's on a Saturday, unfortunately, but it's been very beneficial because, for example, one of the things, the last time I went was a company called Redish, and they do exactly, Chad, what you're talking about, where they go to bigger companies like, you know, universities, and they'll provide them with, you know, plasticware, cups, silverware, and they take them back to their processing plant. They clean them, and, you know, there's a recycle process to it. So it's very great to be at these events. Like one year it was talking about light noise, you know, and then they also talked about people give examples of what they went through. One of them was heating in buildings, government buildings, where everyone thought everything was great. They did a study to find out that, you know, there's a lot of waste that could be checked out. So it's worth going. I recommend it. I know I will be going. I think the question is, in the past, do we just want to do it individually? There is a fee, but normally what we've done is, I think the townships covered it, and we go in as a group. But Carol, keep me honest.
In the past, it's been voted on, and taken to council, so I don't know if that's the route that you wanna take it. I do know that there is a budget, for EAC and for seminars. It is $90 a person. In the past, we've done half, covered full, so it all depends on how many people are going and what you wanna do.
And what's our budget? The budget.
I don't know about that.
It's an hour and 10 from here.
It's not far. You still live down there.
Yeah, and it's worth it. I mean, Laura's gone.
Yeah.
So
I'm
if we look
open
at
and
this
I would go.
budget, and I don't know that everyone can see it because I'm in my hand and no one had it, but we've only spent, assuming what we have to spend on electronics, we have over 6,000 as a budget for us, and then that would put us still around 2,000 and a quarter. Yeah. So, I mean, we could go to council, and in the past, it has gone up. It used to be $75, so is there any thoughts?
I'd go. I'm open that day.
I've gone to.
We'll go.
Okay, so we got
4,
5.
5.
Yeah. If we have a budget, we still have to go to council with it for payment?
It's been done that way in the past. I remember when Tom was president, he brought it up, and then he brought it before council. So
Yeah, we've had discussion and it's like, I don't
Yeah.
think so, cause other people go to training too for things and it doesn't come to council, so, but.
You were looking
You're
at
our
300.
Is
liaison.
there-
What do you recommend?
Is there a amount, like, you know, anything over X,
No,
250
we
or
don't
something
have a
like that?
specific rule.
I mean, this would be $375 then if 5 people were interested, so it's not a,
Yeah, it's not like you're going, flying to somewhere and staying in a hotel
Yeah.
and all that jazz. It's pretty, pretty reasonable. I don't know, I share training information with all the boards all the time, and encourage zoning, planning, anybody, you know, to keep up on things and network.
So do you, if I understand, is there a motion just to have the individuals fill out the form and we have a budget for it and submit it, and then would we want you just to at least bring it up as part of your, council notes?
I'll ask Jay.
And it's a total of
Okay.
$375, so again, it's
Yeah.
not something that
Right.
is gonna break the bank, so to speak, or, and again, these are parts of the sort of function we should be serving, so. Okay, good. Thanks, Laura. Public comment, there are no public here. Township correspondence, I don't think we have a concern there. And then that brings us to September 9th minutes. And they're attached to the agenda. In fact, it's basically the only thing attached to the agenda. I didn't catch anything that I consider to be problematic or in error. Did anybody else find anything?
I did not.
So with that, then I'll make a motion to approve the September 9th minutes as they appear.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, obviously unanimous. You know, we may be on a roll here. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
A second.
Oh, thank you, good
All
job.
in favor?
Aye.
Okay, good. Not a large agenda,
Who
but
got that one?
Chad?
Chad,
Yes.
That's fine.
okay. Carol, do you want me, you don't need me to turn in the attendance form, right? You keep track of it. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just
So-
making note.
I talked to Lehigh Creek,
I initially.
Little
checked
Lehigh
out James.
Watershed